part of our talk. That's very, very important. We will come to now some of the social and psychological issues prevailing in our society today. The first issue that I would like to start with is depression. Sir, figures are terribly depressing and high. If we go to New York Times report this year, 1.8 million people are suffering from depression here. And of this proportion, most people who are suffering depression are youth. They are about 66%. And this happens in a scenario as we will be discussing everything now in the backdrop of conflict, because conflict is definitely a part in psychology, social issues, others, although we'll not dwell on that, but that should be the background of the understanding of the issue. Now, the point here I want to make clear is that India has only 9,000 psychiatrists. That means we have 3 psychiatrists for about 1 lakh people in India. Now coming to Kashmir, we have only 60 psychiatrists here. And of the district from which I come from, Pulwama, it has only a single psychiatrist. While the figures are very, very high, depression, stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other psychological issues are prevailing in the youth. And we have very little people who can fight with such a thing. And do you think that, first of all, we have a lack of awareness? Number one.
Basically,
number two, do you think that...
Okay. But yeah, okay, basically problem is that I can just provide some religious solutions. And interestingly, we had I was working with Islamic Religious Research Trust at Shama Foundation, so we organized several such programs for this mentally depressed people, and we had invited psychiatrists, great psychiatrists of Kashmir. So the problem is that it is faithlessness. I just see everything rooted in faithlessness, because there is a very interesting Quranic verse, Allah bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Verily, in the remembrance of God, there is the solace of hearts. When your heart is solaced, you will never feel depressed. When you believe that there is a nourisher for you, as has been said by Hassan Basri says, when I came to know that my provision will not be eaten by anyone else than me, then I became confident that there will be nothing will happen to me. So because we have no faith, we don't have faith in our own religion. When we don't have any knowledge of religion, how we can have faith in a religion? So if we are able to make people more God-fearing and make them to offer prayer, salah, and other things, and go for zikr, and go for Islamic, worship and other type of these activities, I am hopeful that this depression will go. And I have been doing this thing in my class. I just try to make my students deprived and emptied from all type of this depression, by engaging them in discussion and argumentation and just making them empowered to think. Problem is that in our homes, we don't allow our children to talk from a very early age. And then this internet and other things have made us more confined to our own rooms. And this depression is coming from these social sites as well. And secondly, in our society, there are some problems we know that better. I do talk about politics because I am not a politician, and yes, politicians definitely are talking day in and day out about politics. Let them do it. So उनका जो काम है वो अहले सियासत जाने अपना पैगाम मोहब्बत जहाँ तक पहुँचे. But problem is that as a student of Islamic studies or philosophy, comparative religions, I can say that if we are getting close to our religions, then about 60 to 70% problems of depression will go on their own. And I have seen people who have been very much depressed, they have become very much tranquil when they just returned after repentance to God. So this is the great panacea. Secondly, we need also psychological advice for this. We need more and more psychiatrists, but those have to be human psychiatrists. I have seen psychiatrists are there. I have seen in Kashmir, they are just minting money and nothing else. And they are just applying the Western psychological this philosophy on our patients. And then they encourage these illicit relationships and other things. And mostly they boil down to libido and id, Oedipus complex. So I do need to explain these things, the Freudian psychology. And they do see the psychology which is enshrined in the religious books. Ghazali has talked about that. and Ibn Sina has talked about that. And there have been many, Ibn Sina has talked about this psychology, where he has treated so many patients who were suffering from it. So, but our modern psychologists, psychiatrists, they are just applying the Western model of psychiatry on us. And I have read a book where the Jewish people, they wanted to show that all others are, they are psychologically unfit. Only the Jews are the heroes. So there are biases also in their psychology, which has been developed by mostly by the Zionists. Although I don't believe in this rationalism, but these studies have come to forward. So whatever may be the case, I say that we need both the solutions. One solution from the religion, second is from the psychiatry, and we need good psychiatrists, because this is a science, and this is not astrology. This is not something else. This is a science now, and this is a very good science. And Islam has given very importance to
So
the
can
science.
we say that the
Yeah.
distance from religion is one of the main causes, because Allah says in the Quran in second chapter verse 38, also in Surah Taha, Allah
Yeah,
says, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَن تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Whoever obeys my guidance,
and there
then
will be no.
for him shall be no grief or no fear.
No, there is another verse of
And
Quran.
also,
وَمَنْ يَعْشْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. One this. And second is that we will just give them a hayatan zanka, maishatan zanka. Their life will be very much
Maisha and
stressed.
Zanka immediately after that.
So it means that if you are leaving God, you are leaving His remembrance, because your soul is acquainted with God. You had a pledge with God on the day of when there was the Misaq. Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. So we have already taken pledge with God on the day of that the Misaq. So when you are going against your nature, you will definitely face problems. So religion is Din al-Fitra. Islam is Din al-Fitra. It is taking you to the straight path. But when you are just leaving the straight path, you will definitely deviate and you will suffer. As Ghazali has said rightly, and there is a ship which is having different people boarded on it, and it reaches an island, and then the captain tells the people, the boarders, to go and have some refreshment outside in this island, and then they go out. But he says that you come back after 1 hour or 2 hours. But if you don't come, we will leave and you'll be perishing. When he just sounds the bell, but people who come and others don't come, and when they come back, they have found that this ship has left, and then they suffer. So when we are not boarding the ship of religion, which is taking us to the shore of our fitra, definitely we will be just going against our fitra. When you go against your fitra, definitely you'll be depressed. So we need to go back to our fitra, and that fitra is only possible.
I have a different sort of perspective. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, my question is related to the topic we were discussing. We were discussing about depression. But my point here is that I would like to discuss it from the educational perspective, because our education system is having the mental health implications. So the question is like this: first of all, when a child he enters a stream, he does not receive a proper guidance. Which stream should he take? Ultimately, he becomes a misfit in his stream. He does not want to be there. For example, someone who wanted to enter a law school is in a medical college. Someone who wanted to become an athlete is doing something else. So it is before a student enters a stream. Now, when a student enters a stream, their classroom environment is based on those few selected criteria of academic abilities that make us label somebody intelligent or unintelligent. This disregards all the creativity and the passion and the originality in the person who is studying. Now, after that, when the person leaves the system, from the beginning, when a person enters the system he leaves the education system, he has no job. So is it that in all the three perspectives that we need to work on, and isn't it that we need reforms in our education system and educational counseling, I should say, because they contribute to a lot of depression in youth?
So far
Yes.
as changing the system of education is not in our hands, we should know our limitations. That's very important because sometimes
Yes.
we are seeing very, very great dreams and then we end up in frustration. We should know our limitation. We are, for example, you people or students, I am a teacher. Let me just go to the ground level. What we can do and what I have been doing. For example, your grandfather used to come to me and Dr. Bashir Nahvi, and he used to come with you. So you remained in touch
Yes.
with someone. So whenever you have any problem, you are discussing with me, Bashir Saab, and other friends. So
Yes.
sometimes we can solve our problems on our own also. We are leaving everything to the system and to the society or to the government. That's not the way of the people who are the real people who change the world. Problem is that what my father wants to do, what my mother wanted to do, but she could not become doctor. My father could not become doctor. He wants me or my sister to become doctor. So this is a bogus thinking, and this is a, I should say, backward thinking. Every person is born with some different propensities. So the parents, the society, and the household people should make it a point. Let the student, girl or boy, choose their career on their own after consulting some experts in the field. Since in our part of the world, we don't have counselors. And there are counselors, they are doing business. And let me tell you, no one is performing his or her duty. Otherwise, it was not difficult. We have in every university, we have counseling cell. Neither the students go there, nor the counselors go to anyone to tell them, because we don't think that we are responsible. So the problem is all of us think that we are not responsible. So now in these circumstances, when you sometimes become frustrated, so it is better to see what is your personal propensity. Whether you want to become artist, you want to become doctor, you want to become engineer, or you want to teacher, you want to become philosopher, you want to become poet, you want to become architect. So that should be left to the student, him or her choice to decide about that. And parents should give them freedom. And there has to be a group in the society, the individuals, not look towards the, I should say, system. See the people in your own locality who are well versed in the subject or in the specialization, have consultation of them. And let also the masjids and the imams, they also play some role in this. And let the masjids also become the community centers apart from places of worship. As I have found in USA, the masjids are community centers. All the important decisions of a community are being taken there. Even schooling, college, this and that, even health issues. So in this way, we have to reform our society on our own without waiting for others. Let us start from Tral. Let us start from
Yes.
Pulwama. Let us
Definitely.
start
We have to
from
take initiative from
Lasjan.
ourselves.
Not wait others. And I tell you honestly that the people who want to do something, they never look towards others. They start from a small beginning, and then they do something, and then they become simple, they become model for others. So I think that this is true. But so far as
Yes.
our system of education is concerned, there is a lot of need of change that needs a special session. Inshallah, I have just already talked about that at many places. Here we'll also talk. Sometimes there should be special session on this. What needs our
Inshallah.
system requires, so far education is concerned. And I have been just pleading for the internationally, alhamdulillah. And my, even Kashmir Central University has also adopted. They are adopting some of my, online, offline, the mechanism and strategy of
Method.
education. So which methods, yeah, so which can just empty your feelings, and your depression will go in the classroom itself. And the teacher will be your friend, he will be your psychiatrist, and then you will be having everything in teacher. As once upon a time, the peer and murid were you having the relations, murshid and the murid. So such type of relations we need to create, and then there'll be no problem. So you have a teacher in our societies, in our villages, the teachers of the school, they used to take care of the needs of the villagers and their health issues, other things also. During when I was in the school, the teachers were so good, and they were taking interest in the affairs of the village people, helping them in many ways. So when we can just adopt such type of attitude and change our understanding about things, then these things can be also taken care of, and we need to take care of our youngsters. They are in bad conditions, I know that. So we need to help them. We need to go to
I
them.
have one
Have
point here to ask.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. So my point is that many youth come when, for example, I tell them that you follow your passion. You follow whatever you want to do in your life by your choice, not by the force. their reply is that our parents make a good selection for us in medicine or engineering because they know there is joblessness prevailing. That the next thing we are going to discuss briefly. So how do you reply that then? This
basically, let me tell you my own example. My mother wanted me to become a doctor, and those days it was not difficult
yes,
to become a
you have
doctor.
told me once.
I told you, but I will tell you nowadays people go to Bangladesh and they go for doctor, becoming a doctor and a physician there, and they spend 1 crore rupees for one. A person who is not able to get MBBS here and he is getting it from there purchasing, I should say. Although I have respect for all the doctors, but if you don't have passion to become a doctor, why to become doctor by spending a lot of money? You can start some business, something like that. You can start your nursing home in this money, whatever you are spending. You can bring many doctors there and you can give job to many people. So, but whatever the problem is that this is a craze in our society that if we are doctor, then only we are respected. But now you know that the people who are not doctors, who are not engineers, they are getting much more. I know a professor in our university who could just give his children education and all of them are employed. They are professors, assistant professors, and they are better than all other doctor families. So this is just
your own example is before us.
I never studied, and then I did not go for MBBS. I was not interested in MBBS at all. I went for literature, I went for philosophy, I went for Islamic studies. Alhamdulillah, I feel very much satisfied. I have not done much, but I am happy. Whatever I am doing, I'm happy. I'm enjoying every moment of my career. That's important. And it should not be imposed. It should be just taken our, we should try to see what the students, what the children have in their heart, what is fire in them. So we should try to take out that, a passion and make them to look on accordingly.